But yeah, if you could just tell me sort of a bit about Peaceful Progress to start, how it started.
You want?
Yeah.
Peaceful Progress initially started out as an excuse for me to put my work on the internet, but at the same time it was I was in a studio. I'd traditionally been a traditional graffiti artist with painting walls, like grew up tagging, all that sort of stuff, like train tracks, track sides, street stuff. And then I got a bit sick of it, took a bit of a year out, I was about like 18 or whatever. And then I came back, I went away I think to Canada, and I came back and I moved into a studio with a bunch of other artists, like not graffiti artists, but fine artists. And sort of grew, got a good relationship with a few of those guys, and started working together and basically working on canvas. I went from walls to canvas for a period just to, see what I could do with canvas. And then through that and through sort of developing different techniques other than freehand and, stuff like masking and getting a bit of inspiration from fine artists, I then sort of, had a good body of work over the years. So I sort of wanted to put it on the internet, so I wanted to do, but I didn't want it to be like BryceDavis.com. I wanted to sort of include the guys, make it more of a inclusive kind of movement, if you like, makes it a bit more accessible to people.
Yeah.
So I got those guys who I was painting with and sort of made them little sections, and basically it was, an excuse to put my stuff up on the net. So it's Peaceful Progress. I'm also a breaker, like a breakdancer, doing that for like 8 years. So it was also a way to put like, photos of breaking and info about events and exhibitions we were doing, and jams and battles with the breaking and stuff like that. So that's how it came about basically, and it was a lot worse than it is now. Like, I made it myself, so it was like I had no experience in setting up a website. So
why did you call it Peaceful Progress?
Just because I like the concept. It's like the concept kind of speaks for itself in a way, which I quite like.
Yeah.
And it was basically just something that inspired me because I sort of grew up doing graffiti and like I didn't really get on in school, and it's one of those things. It's quite hard to sort of believe that something like graffiti could be not a way of life, but like a vocation, a sort of job, if you like. So Peaceful Progress was just also about like doing your own thing, like not worrying about what other people think. Like graffiti is also quite a close-minded community, especially in Cardiff. You get people who are like, oh, this guy's starting to do canvas work, or he's doing this or that isn't strictly traditional graph, so there's a lot of bitches.
Yeah, no, I read that you came under fire for sort of employing fine art techniques.
Oh yeah?
I've read that on the internet, I think in various articles.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, exactly. So, and I was like, well, it's to each their own, really. So, like, Peaceful Progress, do what you want, and don't worry about other people. And that's the same sort of the people who I was working with in the studio. One guy in particular who got me in there in the first place, like a big inspiration, and got me thinking outside the box, if you like. So, also those guys kind of totally inspired that in a way as well, and yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
And so when you were younger, you did more tagging than art.
Definitely.
You think?
There were two of us started together, and we were about 15, and basically painted the streets red, like tracks and train tracks,
was that more to the sort of the tags that you see today? So,
yeah.
Did you get into trouble for that?
No, but
quite lucky.
Yeah, I was lucky because what happened was at the same time we also had, like, when we were about 15, we set up a place called Hayley Park, which is a legal Hall of Fame. So it's about 400 yards of wall you can go and...
Oh, is that still... Where's that?
Yeah, that's in Llandaff North.
Oh, right, okay.
So we set that up, me and my mate. So we were also sort of painting pieces and learning to paint pieces, and like traditional graph now, going from tagging to sort of just writing your name large scale. So, that sort of developed the whole creative side, like, working on a big scale, using different colours, like, thinking about colour schemes and content and, laying it all out properly, and it obviously developing into more of an art thing. So at the same time as tagging, we were kind of doing that, and then that kind of, we painted a lot, and then my mate got busted, and a bunch of other people got busted, and it was all very like, this kid's house got busted because they thought it was me.
Right.
So yeah, it was all a a bit like, okay, I'm going to lay down for a bit. And then I thought to myself, well, like, you know, it doesn't really mean that much to me to get arrested and have to deal with it, because I was like 15, living with my parents. Like, you know, I don't really want the British Transport Police knocking down my front door in the middle of the night, you know. So I laid off a bit and just decided to spend a lot more time painting at Hayley Park and concentrating on what I wanted to do, which is, you know, interesting, because my mate went the completely opposite way.
Really?
Went to London and painted trains for years, you know. It's like, it's cool. So, but that was what I wanted to do. So, that also then, you know, got more interested in, you know, producing bigger pieces and all that. But then that turned into sort of going to the studio.
Right. And what's your opinion of the people that are tagging now? Do you think they'll sort of continue doing that, or do you think they'll go your way and become more artistic? Or do you think the council should be helping them?
I think a lot of people do both.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do both, like, quite comfortably. Like, I'm not against tags.
No? Why?
Because I see, like, I grew up doing it, and
Right.
I can see where it comes from. Part of it, when you're a kid, is an ego thing.
Right.
It's like, you see your name everywhere, everyone knows you, but they don't know who you are, sort of thing. So it's like, you know, it's like painting for your peers in a way. And it is an ego thing, and that's understandable from doing it from a kid's point of view. You can't really
But
do
from
that.
Community point of view, do you think?
From a community point of view, yeah, totally. Like, I see the artistic side in a lot of tags, but when you do get kids painting vans, painting people's houses, painting walls, like, in a way it's sort of like you could be selective over what you vandalise. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not condoning vandalism.
No.
I don't do it anymore. But at the same time, I can see, like, I can see where that counterculture comes from, and I'm not like, I don't what's the word, demonise it.
Right.
But from a community point of view, like, what the councils could be doing, which is what we try and promote through workshops, is to say, well, okay, you're obviously into it for a reason. You're into it because you're into sort of an art, like, some degree, the artistic side of spray paint. Right. You know, even if you're not doing it, every kid wants to be able to paint wicked pieces. Yeah. That's why they start painting graph. So we go with the community workshops, and we sort of get 8x4 boards and you know, introduce them to graffiti. Even some of the kids are already painting, some of them have no experience, and introduce them to, like, straight into the artistic side of it. So we'll do, like, a big, you know, if it's in St. Mellons, might do a big St. Mellons piece with images in the background of what goes on.
Right, so you make it relevant to the actual community that you're painting.
Yeah, totally, like, site specific, and what the kids are into at that particular time in the community centre, for example. If they're all into football or basketball, or music, you know, it's like easy themes to kind of inspire them to sort of think outside the box with it. And we basically teach them the techniques to paint a big piece, like outlining and filling in and blending and cutbacks, because they're the things you don't learn that unless somebody teaches you, or like we learn the long way round. It's like, takes a lot longer, and like studying graffiti magazines to figure out how they're doing something. But to have someone come and show you straight off, it's like they're already...
Is the progress that they make quite quick, is it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We can paint big pieces, like finished pieces, in a matter of like 4 hours.
Oh, really?
5 hours, yeah. And then other projects, like big walls, we might spend like, you know, quite a few sessions on. In some cases over the years, like we've done workshops with kids, like over a period of 6 or 12 weeks or something, back at the same community centre every week, and working with the same kids. And then by the end of that period, they're painting the pieces on their own. Okay. So it's like...
So how's it financed?
The community side of it, it's all... I'm self-employed.
Oh, right, okay.
So basically, a community centre will get in touch with me, and they'll say, we want to run a graffiti project, and I'll say, yeah, this is how much it'll cost.